Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and do the
Just
intro.
let's
Do the
with
intro.
this fun
do
thing.
it. Do
We're
it. Let's go
gonna-
for it.
This is fun. Okay, hold on. Song. 0 people here. Let me fix the hair. Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Compressed FM, a podcast all about web design and development with a little bit of zest. And today, we're just gonna do it.
Web development and design, who would have guessed? Well, we can do them both, even add a little zest. So turn up the volume, get ready for the best. Let's get it started in this episode of Compress.
Hello, my name is Amy Dutton. I am a senior design engineer at Cloudflare.
Hey, y'all. My name is Brad Garapi. I'm a senior MCP developer this week at Cloudflare.
Oh,
Oh, well, there you go.
congratulations.
And hello, my name is Chris Nowicki. I do not work at Cloudflare, but I am a developer experience engineer at Commerce.
Awesome. Well, and today we're just doing it, but I'm excited about some of the topics that we've talked about. Brad, I know that you are red pilled on ChatGPT, Codex, OpenAI.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
real quick before we get into it, let me share a quick story time. Okay, since I said red pilled, we introduced my kids to The Matrix last weekend. We watched the parent edited version, so there were a few scenes where we said hide your eyes, walk into the next room. But that movie was released in 1999. So crazy that was 27 years ago. And at one point, my daughter turned to me and said, "Mom, AI did all of this stuff, and you work with AI every day, and you're like training AI. What does this mean for the future?" It's like,
Great question.
That was a great question. I don't know. So, anyways, Brad is red pilled on Codex.
Yeah, I really want to hear about this, especially from a, like, I think you're using it at work, but also on your personal projects. Like, how are you seeing it from a cost perspective as well?
Not at work. So at work, it's still all open code, just because of the
But you could use
model
their model if
flexibility.
you wanted to.
What's that now?
You could use the Codex model if you wanted to within OpenCode.
Oh, yes. I thought we were talking about harnesses. But yes, I'm
Cool.
all in on
Differentiate.
GPT now.
Oh,
Yeah.
you are?
So GPT 5.6 Soul is what I'm using everywhere now.
Really? You switched?
I switched. I really like it. I'll say this. It's worse at design, but it's much better at just like stopping when it's done doing what you ask it to. Opus wants to like plow forward and like keep going and do the next thing and do the next thing. And it'll never just stop and be like, are we good? What do you think? But like GPT 5.6 works like that with me, where it's like, I'm done. Now you can take some time to review. And I'm like, that's exactly what I want to do. I need a checkpoint.
Mhm.
I don't want you to just keep plowing forward.
Interesting. So, and our good friend Aaron Francis is all in on GPT.
Yeah. I've been using Soul on Medium, and I find that like it doesn't blow out my
Token
weekly
usage?
usage or anything. Everything's going just fine. Yeah.
Because I mean, that is the other side of the conversation. It's like one thing at work when you're not fronting the cost for it. It's another thing when it's personal and you're trying to watch your weekly limit and usage. Which I do like that OpenAI switched to a more like weekly limit than a hourly limit, because that drives me crazy.
Got rid of
sometimes.
hourly.
I can do it Tuesday. I can work on Tuesday, but not on Wednesday on personal projects, or something like that. And so it's like I'd rather have a weekly limit than time. So interesting.
And then I feel like I don't actually know how the weekly limit works, because I'm like tracking it, right? And then like I'll be like, ooh, I kind of use like 30% in one day, and then it jumps back up to 100% for no reason. So I don't actually know how. I didn't do a reset. Maybe they did a reset. I don't know, but I've never run out.
You do know with GPT, you do have like resets built in. They give you so many resets that you can use. So
yes,
Aaron was talking about that.
And I've
this week.
never
He's
had
like,
to.
I didn't even know. He's like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
But I want to talk more about the harness though, because like coming from OpenCode, a TUI feels so it feels very developer-y, right? You're
Mhm.
like writing JSON files and configs and all this, and you're looking at a TUI all the time, and like the integrations aren't great. And then you go to something like Codex, which you can control from your phone, and it has nice plugins to everything that you want. Like you one click, it integrated with GitHub, or one click, it integrates with Linear. Uh, my finances are all connected now, so I
That's
can ask it
insane.
questions about all my bank accounts, like, and it's accurate and good. And I'm just like, this feels like a real ass product, whereas
Mm,
open code is like a developer tool.
I see. And if you haven't used any of Anthropic stuff, because I'm curious how. Okay.
No, I haven't used Claude, which is like the, I guess the best thing to compare it to.
Mm.
Yeah. Let's see. I've dabbled a little bit with Codex. I've been more Claude Kool-Aid. I think the confusing thing with Anthropic is that you have all these things on the side for design, projects, artifacts or code or whatever. It looks like they're still, like I just pulled them up. They're still trying to kind of revisit how everything's organized in the side. It sounds like you have to pick I guess that's a harness, whether you're going to be in like chat mode or code mode or design mode. Whereas like Codex is pretty straightforward.
They redesigned the harness, and I don't like it as much, because they used to have two separate apps. One was ChatGPT,
Yeah.
and one was Codex, and then they smushed them both together, and everybody hated it because there was like a Codex for work and a Codex.
Oh,
And then they just switched it this morning, where it was like, it says Codex and ChatGPT, and there's like a switcher, and
Huh.
one is like for regular conversations, producing some documents maybe, and then Codex is like for dev stuff. But it's really muddy now where the lines are, and I don't love it.
so you said you have it on your phone. What all are you doing on your phone? Are you prompting?
You can totally prompt on your phone. So for simple things, I prompt on my phone. If I like just need to nudge a session that I was working on, I prompt on my phone. But I will say, I'm using the desktop app now for review.
Okay.
So like VS Code is now kind of out of the picture, and their desktop app for review is really good, because then you can write comments on the code, and then it sends it right back to the AI for editing.
And this is all in Codex or yeah.
So like
Wow.
I finally found like the one tool that kind of like does the whole workflow, and the terminal support in there is really, really good. I run the dev server out of there as well. So, and it has browser access. So like it cracked it. It like did it, and it works really, really well.
Interesting.
I'm trying to think of a scenario for me where I would, like, I haven't gotten to the point yet where I'm like, man, I just want to push this thing. So let me hop on my phone and kick off a PR. Like all of your stuff is kicked off in cloud. You're using cloud agents then, so you can use your phone to be able to pick it up. Like your computer doesn't have to be turned on, right?
It's a local agent. So it's all running on the computer, and then you have to leave it. And Codex has settings for this stuff too. I'm not like, I've been like around my house kicking things off my phone. I haven't walked away and done it like outside, but I know they do have cloud agents, but I have a feeling there's like a cost associated with that.
I was Peter Levels has been running everything off of, is it Hostinger? And he
Hostinger,
yeah, that's it. And he installed Claude there. He just like went in like as if it's his own computer, and then it's like, I'm gonna basically do Linux development except it's on a server. And he's using Terminus, which I haven't downloaded. Yeah, but I haven't tried experimenting with it yet. So it's one of those things that I'll be honest, I keep being like, I want to do this. I want to be able to develop on my phone. But then I'm also like, but do I really? I don't know. Then it's like it does follow you everywhere. Is that a good thing or not?
What I like about it is for simple changes. Oh shit, I misspelled something on my website, or like I want to add the footer link or something. Like you can totally do that. Like on my phone, I added ASCII art on bradgarrity.com in the console. I definitely went back to my computer to edit the art because it looked terrible. But like to kick off that whole workflow and get it going and get something up was perfect. because it's like not super user facing. It's fine.
Yeah. You know, there's a millennial thing, like a joke where it's like millennials have to sit at their desk for certain tasks. Like it's like, oh, I've got to buy plane tickets. I have to do that at my desk, or I've got to buy a TV.
100%.
So I wonder like how this fits into that.
100%, because like I hate using my phone for doing web stuff. It sucks.
Yes,
I mean,
yes, it's horrible.
because it sucks. It's not because like I don't like using my phone. I use my phone all the time, but like web experiences on the phone are terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, do I really want to develop? I still, I know there's been a big debate lately online of, do we still need to read the code? And I still at least skim it to make sure I understand what's happening or where it puts stuff. I don't know if you guys have gotten to the point where you're just like, our AI checks will catch it if something's wrong. Just go ahead and ship it.
Depends on the project.
My stuff is a little weird because I'm doing doc platform stuff, right? So my validation checks is the doc site rendering? Do the docs render? Do the specs render appropriately and stuff like that? So it's not necessarily a because a lot of our doc site, we are an abstraction layer on top of a Next.js backend powered by Fern. So that's where for me it's like I don't check the code that often, but I am doing a lot of checks on the quality of our agents, the quality of our skills, the quality of the stuff that our engineers are using, like our agent orchestrators and stuff like that, on top of ensuring like the right CI/CD checks and stuff like that are happening. So it's less of a code diff like what Brad was talking about when he's like, I could go into Codex and take a look and make comments. Now, in a new project that I'm working on that I can't talk about yet, that one I am doing a ton of code checks and diff checks where I'm like, we need to do some stuff here because it's not, I'm maintaining the actual platform in the Next.js layer. So anyway.
I will say the thing that I do love right now about AI is just how productive I felt so productive this week. And granted, it's because we had a product launch, but I was like trying to do a bunch of stuff this week. And like I don't even feel like this is that fast because I know there's people that are doing far more than I am, but I got in like 12 tickets the other day. And it's just, I don't think that would be possible without AI.
Yeah, I tend to YOLO on specific projects where like the terminal project that I built, I was like, who cares? Like I'm YOLOing this. The Yodo app project that I built, I kind of understand what's happening at like a function level, like an architectural level, but I don't look at the code. For like my website or maybe some of the things that I'm doing at work, like I pay a lot more attention.
Yeah. Well, and the work thing is like, I'm responsible for that. If we hit an incident and I committed that, I have to be able to speak for it. Right. So anyways, there's a little bit more care there.
I definitely use AI to make automated testing, but like I never check the tests. I'm like, I'm trusting you to write tests to verify behavior at a unit test level. But like, I think we really need to start tightening down on end-to-end testing or integration testing. That's the only thing that matters.
Kind of pivoting slightly, Brad, I know you're using it for everything right now.
Everything. Like
language learning. Did you see that video the other day where a guy was like, turned on the voice with ChatGPT and was like, I'm just want to practice. Interrupt me if I say something wrong. And he just starts talking to chat and it say, oh, excuse me, and then correct his grammar, which is just brilliant.
I tried that the other day. It still kind of sucks.
Okay.
Yeah, still kind of sucks. Actually, I think I tried it before the Soul models though, so maybe that's improved. The biggest problem was that the voice models would like output at the same speed. So if I'm trying to speak Spanish with it, I'm like, I need you to speak slower or repeat something, and it just wouldn't, pivot well enough.
Interesting. And this is my just ignorance. how do you get it to turn over to voice so that its response to you is voice? Because right now I'm still getting just all the text output.
Oh, there's like a button in the app now that
Oh.
switches like what modality it outputs in, and this is the ChatGPT app.
Got it.
Look,
And I don't
other-
think
it's like
Claude does that.
it's like this little thingy in the bottom. It's like the
Oh,
blue one.
Mm-hmm.
If that will ever, yeah, the little blue button will switch to the voice mode.
It's interesting that you talk about harnesses. I mean, I know, Brad, you're liking Codex more now. I think I haven't streamed away from Claude, not because I don't think Codex is any better, whatnot. It's because it's just I have an enterprise and I have a very, very nice allowance in my corporate plan, right?
That's
So
it.
like I don't really go and play with anything else. I mean, I've been going this week because I was out on vacation last week. I've been going YOLO on Fable and spending a nice amount of money every day on Fable to get caught up to my. So I'm like, I know I'm going to spend my allowance at the end of the month. Not that I'm trying to spend the allowance just to spend it, but like, okay, I have a little bit more free. Well, yeah, but I have like a little more room to use Fable
Mhm.
and some really nice planning. But I recently was at a meetup, and Amy, I know you were talking about this, and this might be a preview into some previous stuff we're doing next week, but there's so many harnesses out there. You know, you have OpenCode, you have Claude, you have Codex, right? And then there's Pi, and I saw a really cool demo of Pi, as Pi being like the Vem of the harness world, you know, where you can basically customize it however the heck you want. It comes bare bones. It's YOLO mode all the time. There is no plan mode. It just goes for it. But you can program, you can tell it to, like if there's a feature from Codex that you like that Claude doesn't have, and Claude has this that Codex doesn't have, you can build that into Pi just by telling it to do it right there. And so it's interesting, like these, I think harnesses are going to become the approach to how these tools are being used. But then you get into that lock-in with like Claude, where Anthropic is blocking any of the harnesses from you being able to link to your current plan, right? Which is, so then people aren't going to use harnesses, and then they're switching to, you know, the Cloudflare AI gateway, to where they can pull in whatever tool they want to use and get charged in one platform, and then they're doing it that way. But the question is like the cost comparison of going with the plan versus just going with the API costs. I wonder what that, I wonder how that's going to change how we work in harnesses. Anyway, that's kind of where my brain has been lately, of like,
Well, I think some of it is the cost of models right now. So if you, somebody mentioned that Kimi 3 was released earlier this week. And so they were saying that it was on par with Fable, which I kind of find hard to believe. I want to see those benchmarks. But
On what kind of system? That's
I know,
like, how
right? Or
slow
like
is it?
what,
You know what I mean?
So, but the question is though, like as those models that are not frontier models get faster and better, or even if we're able to run those models locally, how does that change things? And it'll also be interesting to see. I've mentioned Aaron Francis a couple of times. They were talking on the podcast how he was looking at a new company that they will train a model, like a language model for you based on your specific tasks. And so he was like, basically, I just have one task. Yeah, Jason, I just have one task that I want it to run, and that's it. And so he was like, it would be cheaper for me to have a specific language model that would just do that one thing instead of having to ping, you know, not open code, but like Codex or, you know, whatever every time for this. So at that point, does it go beyond harnesses when you start talking about language models and the data that's been trained on and what the cost is? And I think, at least the way I see it right now, what makes the difference is memory, because right now there's certain things I'm like, man, that would be painful to switch off of Anthropic for this project because it has the history of my project. I mean, the same can be said for Codex. And so what's the advantage that these frontier models have right now is they're locking you in, they're getting that memory. And then what happens like later down the road? It's a good question.
So the way I view it is that I feel like you're kind of hinting at model routing, where like you're using a specific model for a specific task, but then how do we maintain memory throughout? Well, okay, that will happen if you kind of build your own harness that uses like a memory skill that writes persistent things to a file that's loaded into context every time you make a call to a different model, right?
Yep.
This is all stuff that like I'm not going to try to engineer myself today.
Yeah, of
It
course.
it will come, right?
Yeah.
It will all come, and like I feel like I went way overboard on skills at the beginning, and now like all this orchestration stuff, the agent just does it. It will
Yeah.
spawn sub agents by itself whenever it needs them to.
Yeah.
And so like you don't even have to think about it. Sure, like a workflow orchestration, like read a Jira ticket, do stuff, make PR. It kind of knows that workflow though.
It
So,
does. It does. I even, when I way back at the like a year ago when I was trying to play around with this stuff, I was like, I'm going to create PR skill, right? Now I don't need to do that. In my agent MD file or Claude MD file or whatever, I'm using or linking or some linking, I put in there, I'm like, just use conventional commits. And that's it. Like it knows how to create a PR. And I just tell it, like, I don't need to give it the list of what just use conventional commits. And it just does it for you. Right. And then I don't have to call a create PR skill or a commit skill, because that should, at this point, they're smart enough where they're doing it. It's a waste of a skill.
right. And get this, it's like, oh, I needed to follow this specific PR template. Well, guess what? Like those are typically checked into your repo. And now it just has a better understanding of, oh, I see in the .github folder, there's a PR template. So I'm just going to use that. It's like, well, yeah, perfect. It's just connecting the dots better than they're better than they ever have before.
Yeah. Jason in the chat said, also really digging Claude Design now. I've still am like kind of going back and forth with it, just trying to get it to produce what I want. There have been things where it's been helpful for exploring options, but I've still been like exporting to Figma and then refining in Figma. I still can't. And maybe that's just because I'm old, but
well, you're an old school design engineer,
Yeah. But it just seems like it's easier to iterate sometimes, or to explore an idea quickly, or, I'm talking about nudging things over a few pixels. I can do that in Figma a whole lot faster than I can trying to prompt it. Will you make this in line? Oh, wait, you didn't do it. Let's try again. And then waiting, 5 minutes or whatever for that thing to come back. So
yeah.
I think there's still something to be said there. I do want to do kind of on my to-do list a deep dive on Figma to see like, okay, they had their config conference. What are the AI tools that they've been experimenting with, and how can I push those a little bit further? Because I feel like they're trying their hardest to stay in the game. And it's been hard, especially against tools like Claude Design or Lovable that are, or V0.
Yeah.
They're doing a lot of the stuff that like Make is doing right now.
Yeah, but the beautiful thing is like all enterprises probably have their design stuff in Figma. So you need a bridge to go from there to code with AI and back and forth and whatever. So Figma already has like a good market share that they can lean on. And as long as they make the bridges, they'll be okay.
Well, they have their MCP server, which I've continued to use. I think the things that I haven't pushed on quite as much recently are where you make a change in code and you can, I think, push it to Figma, and then your design will update based on those code changes.
So it keeps them in sync. I always wondered about the Figma MCP, like I know what it is and I know what it does, but I'm not, I don't know how to use Figma. Like I've used it for some basic things. I can read it. I can use it to implement a design or whatever, but I've always been curious about that.
Well, you can also send it a node and say, like, I can select a group or a frame, and then I can, what that'll do in code mode is it'll say, hey, you have the MCP server already enabled. Go ahead and copy this prompt, and it includes a long URL that includes a direct link to that node, and that'll send it off to like Claude or Codex or, whatever you're using. And then it'll try and implement that for you. It's still not exactly perfect. But like another thing that they announced during the config conference was you can actually code components directly within Figma, which is really interesting, that you can have the code inside Figma with like creating the component that you're talking about. So I'm sure that's all kind of related, because the stronger you can make those relationships between components and code, the easier that they're going to be able to have that two-way binding.
Oh, interesting. Is that almost like what Storybook was originally for?
Yeah, I think so. If you can do stuff like that, I mean, that might not be necessarily the target audience that they're going
Yeah.
after. I think it's like design engineers like me, where it's like we're trying to live in between design and code, and we're trying to keep everything together and trying to figure out, man, this is hard. Some things are easier just to do in code. Some things are easier to experiment with in Figma. It's, that land, the no man's land.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is on our list for today. Do you want to pick a topic, Brad? Because I know you have.
Yeah, he had a good bunch of.
Yeah.
Let's look.
I just finished a little side project recently.
Let's talk about this. Yes, this is really interesting.
Let me get the screen loaded up on this thing. You guys have ever heard of Terminal? Think about it like a Google Home, those things with the screens.
Yeah.
But you can kind of customize them. Oh, I'm outside
It's
of like my
bigger than
time
I
range.
thought it would be.
This is the big one. There's a small one too.
Okay, so you got the real. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
for people listening, it's like what, 11-inch, 12-inch?
good guess. It's 10 and a half. Yeah.
Ah, look at me. I figured it was about the same size as my iPad.
This is kind of my like the thing that I was doing. So I have a web app that is configurable by my wife that will set like to-do lists for specific time ranges of the day for the kids. And then it'll like get pushed to this device if it's in the current time range. So this device will just poll like every 15 minutes, hits an API that grabs this data. And if you're in the time range, you show it. If you're not in the time range, you just skip this screen, and then it'll go right over to the like Google Calendar screen that I set up.
That's cool.
The intent is that like this will kind of replace like the whiteboard or all the pieces of paper that we have sitting around the house trying to like get in sync on schedules and keep the kids in the loop. In practice, I'm just not seeing it happen. Like this terminal screen is meant to be non-distracting, but it's almost like non-distracting to a point where it's being ignored. And the refresh rate being so slow to preserve the battery life is kind of hampering that experience. Like it shows each screen for 15 minutes at a time. Otherwise, you have to press that little button. And then because the screen takes like 5 seconds to refresh, little ones lose patience. So
that's so funny.
yeah, it's not having like the exact effect that I wanted it to. Because if it did, I would have gone like all in on like
usually when it has the
dashboards and all
effect
this
that
stuff.
like when you go all in, man, you're there. So
Yep.
now I remember you were saying that they just updated the firmware. So have you seen an improvement, or is it still at a place where you're like
So yeah, I found some bugs while I was implementing this custom plugin, and there were 2 bugs. So like think about it. There's software running here that's controlling like when and how the device polls and updates screens. And then there's software running on terminal servers, which are like integrating with custom plugins and
Sure.
APIs and settings. I found a bug in both of those places. So it's early times, I suppose. Like they're on version 1.8.10 right now of the firmware. But it was like if screen refresh isn't working properly, like
that's
how
the
can
whole
you
point.
lean on this thing? You know?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's like the core loop of the firmware. They fixed it. It is working better now. But like it was like a week of like tripping over things where it was like my code's working, my API is returning the data that it needs, my liquid templates are injecting that data just fine. It's not on the device. And it took a lot of back and forth with support to try to figure that out. They got a great Discord, server. The devs are in there talking. But yeah, it's like for the cost of this thing, it's hard to justify that. When you could go out and get a Google Home with a color screen and a Google built-in and all this stuff, and like
it's going to do all that for you. Yeah.
And I want to be able
No,
to
it is
just like
distracting.
touch, like check a to-do off. And it's like it's not touchscreen, right?
it's not touchscreen because the
No.
point is it's supposed to be not distracting. And I thought this was going to be really good because my kids are constantly touching the Google and talking to the Google, and it's like, how do we get that away? But then like
Yeah.
this was the opposite, where like they don't want to interact with it or look at it,
It's going too far.
and it's slow to the point of like not caring. So yeah,
Mhm.
easy
Brad, what-
development experience though, I will say.
Yeah.
It's like you make your API that delivers data, you can do whatever you want, and they just hit that JSON API. You can even like give it parameters and stuff if you want to, but they hit that JSON API, you get the data back, that data gets injected directly into a liquid template that you provide, and that's what shows up on the screen.
So they provide
Easy
like
dev
a
loop.
they provide templates like a UI kit, I guess you would say, like a UI UX.
I mean, you could install
Squares.
Tailwind, like
Oh.
query Tailwind and pull it in and dev like that, but they are actively discouraging people from doing that. Like Tailwind is large, so especially if you just pull it in instead of like compiling it and building it for your
Mhm.
app. So they do provide a UI kit with like colors, text sizes, UI elements that you can use, and you just
Okay.
apply it like Bootstrap classes. I
Sure,
want a card, and it's like a div with a dot card.
Interesting.
What happened with the project that you were working on where we could send you messages and it came across?
Oh, I mean, the hardware is put away, but like you can still go to that website and send messages, and I will see, because that MQTT server is still running. I just disassembled the hardware bit.
Sure.
That's fun. I did something crazy last night. Is I installed Expo on my machine.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Are you making an app?
I am gonna try and make an app. I've never done a mobile app. How crazy is that? Tons of mobile websites, but never a native app. So I was talking to, I think Claude, maybe ChatGPT. I talked to both of them, and we don't discriminate here. And I was asking it, is this the best way to do it? And it actually pushed me towards Expo. I'm not sure if that's just, training data or whatever, if it would make more sense to try and build something with Swift. The onboarding experience wasn't quite as silky smooth as I would have hoped, but I mean, I figured it out. Basically, you have to have Xcode installed on your computer in order for the simulator to work. And so the first couple of commands that it was like, hey, just run this, it did not work because I didn't have Xcode installed. And then you have to create the project in the dashboard. So like one of the first commands it gives you is a link command. Well, it's not going to link if the project hasn't been created yet. So there are a few errors, but I'm kind of excited to see how that feels in like a different medium, like to actually have my phone and go through things. But the app that I'm building, well, it's more for me. I enjoy reading, and a lot of the best book recommendations I've gotten have been through AI. And just because it's like, yeah, you can do Goodreads or StoryGraph, but a lot of those are more of the social aspect. And my friends don't have the same tastes I do. And I'm all over the place. And so AI has had better book recommendations for me of like, hey, you might enjoy this. And so trying to like lean into that a little bit with this application and have it make recommendations. I mean, the other thing, if it can just like figure out my tastes, but I'm like, if I read a couple books in a series, I need a palate cleanser. I need to read something else. I can't just, read a long series. I need that change of pace. And so like if AI can pick up on that and be like, oh, you've read, a couple fantasy books, I bet you'd like a legal thriller right now.
Like something to throw in a wrench, something to like switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. It's like Netflix. If you watch one genre, it totally messes up your algorithm. I'm like, I need it to know that actually, like, I don't want that now. I want something else,
I went down a rabbit hole when I was in Austin a month or so ago, and I was watching true crime documentaries because my wife doesn't love them, but I love them. But we have the same profile.
Yes.
And so I got home, and all the recommendations now are these dark shows, and it's really funny because it totally messed up our algorithm. But I know, like from a book perspective, I just got into Dungeon Crawler Carl. I know Brad. I've been into it for a while. Brad, you just got into it. I know Jason, who's probably still on here listening. He is on book 6.
Okay.
So I got him turned on to it like a month and a half ago, Brad, and he just like boom. I think in June that's when you started, right? Yep. You started in June. It's such a great series, and I can't stop. Like, I can't do a palate cleanser because I just want to continue to move on because it's just so good.
But see, you should be able to like provide that feedback to an app and be like, I know I have everything queued up. This is what I'm gonna do. It should know.
So
fair.
Amy, what do you use to track books free this Expo app?
Right now, I use Notion.
So why not?
Have a list of every book that I've read since 2009.
So why not just hook up
Whoa.
Notion to an agent and be like, tell me what to read next?
I will import that, and this is where the designer part in me and my bias. Like, I'd love to see an
Right.
interface, and I know that there's a common theme right now where people are saying dashboards are dead. Like, that's what I want.
Yeah,
I want a
it's like
dashboard that will show me.
I feel like I'm in this set of thinking now where it's like source of record doesn't matter if you friggin' hate it or not. Just make it like connect your agent to that and be like, I just read this book. This is what I thought about it. It creates a Notion thing for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, like your whole interface is a ChatGPT app or whatever. Or
Yeah. Well, and I mean,
whatever.
that kind of
It's crazy.
happened with Chat too, because I was telling Chat I need a palate cleanser. And I was like, okay, good to know. Like, I got this feedback where I said I was able to tell it to why I didn't like a book. And like, I read Hello Beautiful. It's very character driven. It started off and I was into it, but I struggle sometimes with character driven stuff. I'm like, come on. Like, I'm tired of hearing about your thoughts. Like, show some growth, move on. And so, I mean, I finished the book, but that was helpful though in telling ChatGPT that you don't get communicated when I say, oh, I just gave it a 3-star rating. It was like, well, why? Like, what was it about it? And so then it's able to provide recommendations based on what it knows about why I like or dislike books. Like, what is that defining factor?
So you're basically curating your own good reads without the social
Mhm.
aspect for yourself.
Yep.
Because you don't really care about sharing it with everyone. You want to be able to track where you're at reading something, and then
Right.
take a look. That's 2009.
Yeah. Yeah. 9.
Did
9.
this Notion around in 2009?
No, I had them as Evernote lists, and I imported them
moved
into
it.
Yeah,
Notion.
I forgot about Evernote. That's still around.
Yeah, I think so. But I like grabbed it out of Evernote.
Dang.
So, but I mean, I would even like to say, oh, Chris, you like stuff like Dungeon Crawler Carl or whatever. Here's a list of books that are in that genre that I read. So I think there could be a social component,
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean you should see every single book. You're not going to care about Hello Beautiful.
that's
You're
true.
just not. And I wouldn't talk to you about it. You'd be bored out of your mind. But it's like, I think the system should be smart enough for that. Or, even if you do have friends, being able to say like, hey, I know you're friends with Chris. Here's some books that overlap that you could talk about or you could share. But you don't need to know everything.
I need to do this with video games because
yeah.
I like there's
That's
some
brilliant.
styles of games I like and some that I don't. And like this is a great way to be like, oh, what's next? What's on
Mhm.
sale? What have I not thought about? Here's the systems that I have.
Yep.
That could be really cool.
Yeah.
That could be because I've reached out to you multiple times. I'm like, hey, do you have any good cozy game recommendations? I even gave you one out of the blue that you never heard of, which was totally random and not expected because I'm not a gamer. But
Well,
I think
I'll message you if you want to make a brand out of this, because you can take some of my brand. I'm not going to tell you the URL then now in case you want to
well,
buy
maybe you
this.
could have books and video
Similar
games
to
in it.
Yeah, but anyways, I'll send you the brand stuff if you want to rip some of that off and make it like this is a book version, this is a video game version.
Cool.
So, yep.
That kind of lines up with one of the topics, Brad, that you were talking about is the digital first downfalls, video games, updates.
Yeah, good point. Everybody heard that Sony is getting rid of physical games?
No.
Really?
Yeah, so basically all the consoles except for Nintendo are going to be moving to like a digital only future. And it got me
Kinda like
thinking
what
about
Xbox did.
yeah, I mean they still sell physical games, but like you saw how hard they were pushing Game Pass and like streaming games
Oh, yeah.
and stuff.
And then they raised the price to an astronomical amount. That was insane.
The gaming industry is kind of super effed right now. But it got me thinking about everything. Like everything I deal with in my house is some software problem
Mhm.
because they pushed an update and broke something, or they discontinued service for something, or like I tried updating my PlayStation 5 the other day and it like failed and it was in a loop of like breaking, and I had to like use AI to like boot a recovery disk with an update image and like
Oh
do
my
this
gosh.
whole rigmarole just to get the PlayStation to boot. That thing is sick.
I want one. Is that a real game? That's not a real Game Boy.
No,
Nah,
it's an
that's those new
It's
is that the back shoulder buttons too?
Imbernic, yeah.
Like,
Yes.
do you
They
have to
got it.
own the games to use it? Where do you find? I'm so this whole world I don't understand.
That's all emulated. It's all just downloaded and emulated, right?
Mhm.
But where do you get it from?
We'll talk later.
Never mind. You own the games and then you put them on there. Got it. Cool.
Put all the games that I had as a kid in there, but I'm very specific. I think, okay, so we have defaulted to physical games for our Switch because we had problems when we would travel because we had 2 Switches. Well, we still have 2 Switches, but like the kids would want to play different games and you have to be connected to the internet for it to recognize that you are not playing both games on both devices at the same time. So it need to register, like you can't. And so it would need to register with the server to say, hey, like this game has been released. And so it made travel very hard. And so we started doing the physical cards that came to bite us because we lost a Switch with the case. And the like Sucker Punch was more of the games than it was the device because there was more money locked up in the games.
Yeah.
But we've continued to buy those physical game cards. So that's kind of interesting. But, it makes me think about like at Christmas when I, share my wish list, my mom doesn't want to just buy me gift cards for everything. But I'm like,
Oh.
I want this Amazon book and all my books are on Kindle, or I want,
Yeah.
I mean, now everything's on Spotify, but when it was iTunes, it was like, you have to buy the card, or now we're talking about games. You're going to
So
have to
this
buy
is-
the cards. I mean, like the
This
gift
is-
cards, not like something physical.
This is why Nintendo will probably keep physical games around for much longer than anybody else, because PlayStation and Xbox are like adult systems.
Yeah.
You're
And
also
so
hardwired in.
what's that?
You're hardwired in. Like it's a huge console. It's not like I'm
Yes.
going to try and play that in the car.
Yeah, but then like these Nintendo games are for kids, and so kids like need that like to get handed a
Mhm.
present or a game. Like there's so much more physical value there, whereas like adults just put it in their living room next to their TV, hook it up to the
Scan
internet.
the
It's like,
QR
that's where
code.
it lives. It's fine.
Download it. You're done. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I still can't get over though is my kids have gotten into Roblox, and it's like wanting to buy skins and like these digital things, and I'm like, that doesn't even do anything, or when you talk about Fortnite, the fact that the entire game is free and really you're just buying these digital accessories. Just,
If this
Yeah,
this has had much broader impact for me too, where like I bought these Sonos speakers way back in the day because they
I love
promised
Sonos.
integration with like a certain AI assistant. I can't even remember which one at the time. And I waited for it and I waited for it and I waited for it. They said it was coming in an update. And then like 2 years later, they were like, yeah, no, we're just going to release a new bit of hardware that supports this. And these old ones that they'll just never get
Yeah.
it. And so this promise of functionality that's delivered via software is like kind of bullshit. And it's a
Mhm.
way these bigger companies can just be like, yeah, you don't actually own it. And when we change something, it's gone forever. And all the money you spent on it is just wasted. And I thought about this a lot with games, and it's like, okay, here is how you help the consumers. You need an expiration time on a game. Let's say games last for 10 years, and then that source code, that game goes like almost like free and open source kind of thing, or just free, right? Where like, here it is, you can put it on whatever device you have for free because like this particular timeline ended. And I think that really protects the consumer and the companies from just like pulling the rug out from under you, saying like your whole library is like junk. No, now you can actually download this file, stick it on a machine somewhere, and you own it.
But I mean, you get that with the iPads all the time where they're like, the iOS, we're not going to support it anymore.
Yeah. Man, that's true.
Yeah. I don't.
It's true.
It's crazy.
Here's what I think about every now and then is, and it's a totally random thought and it's totally morbid, but like the day the country gets hit by an EMP and we have no electricity and people are using like solar and their little like Anchor little portable things, I'm not going to be able to watch the videos, the movies that are in my Apple TV because it needs connection to Apple TV servers. I'm not going to be able to. And so that's where like my wife has this insane collection of DVDs. And like Jason mentioned this in the chat, but like I want to start a Plex server. Like for example, Netflix got rid of Gilmore Girls. Like they are not, it's gone. You can't watch it. And my wife loves Gilmore Girls, but she has the whole collection on DVD. So I'm going to start taking that collection, digitizing it. And if we ever had a house with solar or a way to do that, I could connect up my little thing together and boom, we can.
See, this says that digital's not the problem. It's just we rent it from companies. We don't own the things that we have digitally.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we did before, like in the early 2000s, when you bought something on iTunes, you owned that MP3, like you had the file, and then they, introduced DRM on them and then blah, 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 blah. But like, it makes me miss the day of Napster, man. I was all in on Napster. I loved that. I remember being in college, they actually had to, we would like set all the things to download, go off to classes. And then an IT thing came out saying, look, we have to limit how much this is being used because it's taking up like 90% of the bandwidth of our whole campus network. Like it was nuts. I miss Napster.
Oh man, that's funny.
Random.
I know we're getting close on time, so let's move into the next segment of the show, which is picks and plugs, where we pick something that we like and we plug something generally that we've worked on. I can go first if you would like. So I found this, since I mentioned books earlier. Oh my goodness, my dog. Since I mentioned books earlier, I found a new. This is going to drive me crazy. Since I mentioned books earlier, I found a new service called, I think it's BookBub. Yes. I'll share a link, but basically I get an email every day of the best deals on ebooks. So like if a book on Amazon goes on sale for like $2, I get an email about it. And I kind of, told it some genres that I was interested in, but anyways, I found quite a few lately of things that I wanted to read that on sale. So if you're a reader, that's a good site. And then for my plug, I'm going to plug the Cloudflare blog. So we officially launched that this week.
It looks so good.
Oh, thank you. So we have light and dark mode now. So hopefully, you can read your preference. But that was a fun project to work on. It is based on top of M-Dash, which is like an Astro version of WordPress. And I don't know, the team just really did a great job with launching. We can maybe do a deep dive on it later, but just as a taste of it, we wanted to be mindful of the traffic because we get an absurd amount of traffic on the Cloudflare blog. And so ensuring that it didn't fall over. So we load balanced the launch all day and slowly put the traffic over to the new site. And we set it up so that if you did hit an error, that you'd actually be redirected to the old site. So the end user never saw that, but we were monitoring all the errors on our end so that if something did happen, we could fix it quickly. But
That's
everything
cool.
went through pretty smoothly. So it was a good team project. It was fun to, get up at 5 o'clock in the morning because it was 11 o'clock in the morning in Lisbon. And that's when we started turning everything over. So,
ooh, that was early morning then. Cool.
Yeah, it was fun. So who wants to go next?
What pick is something? Okay. Go see the new Odyssey movie. I saw it last night and it was so good. If there's an IMAX theater we don't have an IMAX theater near us. So we don't want to drive an hour and 20 minutes to the closest one. But the whole thing was filmed in 70 millimeter film, which means in IMAX, which means that go just look up. I won't get everything, but go look up the complexity of the filming of this project. They had to build new IMAX cameras for the shoot. There's over 380 miles of film of like that was used, and there's only 2 people in the world that can like cut, like the edits were not made digitally. It was like, okay, we're gonna cut the film here, glue them together. Like it's the whole thing is crazy. Saw it last night, so good. Go see it. Don't bring your kids to it. It's crazy. What's the other thing we got to do?
Like,
I'm gonna. I got nothing. Brad, it's you.
I just finished a video game with a buddy of mine last night, called Split Fiction.
oh
That's
yeah.
awesome. Super good. It was better than the one that preceded it, called It Takes Two.
Mm.
We thought the ending was like incredible. Not the ending to the story, but like the last section of the game was incredibly creative. Never seen anything like that before. Really fun.
What's
It took
the
like
level on
14
that?
hours to beat. What's that?
Like, what's the difficulty level on that?
Not.
Oh,
difficult.
easy.
Okay.
Easy.
Okay.
It's pretty.
I'm
It's
like, I would
more
like to
like
play with my son, but I'm not skilled.
it's just like can you do like the dual joystick controls?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, then you'll be fine.
Okay. Did you ever play Ape Escape? Talk about a throwback.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Never heard of that.
Oh my goodness, this is such a good game. Go back and play. It was PlayStation 1, possibly 2. But it's such a good game.
I remember this
You did play
This-
it?
cover art for this game. I
Okay.
feel like I have played it.
Yeah. So basically this guy's going to take over the world and he kind of releases the apes. And so you have to go recapture all the apes. But it's like the one game that I think of when I had to do 2 joysticks because you're running around with one and you're trying to control the net with the other one.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's
Let's see.
worth it. We've played it. We got it for the kids on, I guess, PlayStation on one of their talk about digital downloads.
There you go.
Hmm.
Right. For
Oh,
a
go ahead.
plug, I'll just plug my terminal project that I finished. I'll link the source code up because it's all behind Cloudflare Access, so only me and my wife can like modify the data. But here's the source code. It's really simple. It's a web server that has a UI where you can like configure some things. It's stored in D1, and then like it has an API that serves up that data to the terminal servers.
Just in the chat, James, you can come on actually not right now because we're getting off, but you can come on anytime.
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 I
Yes.
feel
and
like this has been the Just Do It episode where we're just like, I think we're all tired. It's been a long week.
We
the
need to
next
get
one-
him
okay.
on to talk about his new project.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That
Drop it.
podcasting is sick.
That's
We're
what it's
doing
called,
this-
right? Drop it.
Dropcast.
Oh man.
Is that it?
Drop. Yes.
Drop. Okay. So we're doing an episode next week. It's a panel episode. Again, we just like YOLO'd this. Where we're gonna get some of our good friends on. I don't know how many people it's gonna be. I know at least Braden's coming on, but we're all gonna talk about our harnesses and just different workflows. So we're in a Discord together with some people that we've met at different conferences and things. And that's really the best way that I've stayed connected in terms of what's on Twitter versus like how are people actually using it and how can we help each other or highlight different things that are going on in the industry that actually matter. So
I
that
think it's
is
going to
next
be a great episode because even Brad, you were saying like my thing's kind of boring. Like that's the whole point. Like
Mhm.
some of us are
Yeah.
using really cool stuff. I mean, some of us are using really simple tools that are boring as crap. So
Mhm. Well, and I remember actually when James and I first started the podcast, how many people we would interview, different founders that were doing incredible things. Like we had the guy from, is it Nginx? No, that's not one of those guys. But anyways, he was just like, I've picked the most boring tech. Pick the boring tech, build stuff on it, be fine with it, because that's the thing that's stable, and make the interesting parts more of like what you were building, not
product.
the tech.
Yeah.
Yes. And that way your stuff is stable. So I just thought that was interesting. I mean, we heard that time and time again, But I think that plays in even to AI, and people are trying new stuff.
Love it.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks. The chat's more fun when people are there. So thanks for hanging out. If you're listening after the fact in your podcatcher of choice, please leave a review. For now, that's all we've got. And I'm going to go ahead and end it.
Bye.